My guest now is Wade Van Gilder, Senior Director of Technical Services here at Red River. So Wade, on the first segment we talked about how physical security inside of the building helps workforce productivity, and mainly through security and feeling comfortable. But now what happens when we go into the remote employees?
We use deployable solutions.
And what exactly is a deployable solution?
So today's workforce expect media-rich capabilities when they move outside of the four walls of their current infrastructure, current enterprise. Solutions such as physical security, voice and video unified communications, access to data, remote capabilities to applications. It could be, we were just talking about physical security. It could be taking that whole physical security solution, shrinking it down, and moving it outside the facility. With voice and video, it could be taking a voice and video capability so that you could have communications back to your enterprise, shrinking it down into a remote, into a small kit, and again, moving it outside of a facility to a team that has access into the field to the people that are responsible for the field activities. They can now have access to the enterprise, and they can have access to the enterprise IT solutions.
So you're not talking about telework or BYOD? Right?
No, this is completely different. Typically a telework or a BYOD, those solutions are very dependent upon consumer grade hardware, and that hardware can only run certain applications on it. Here what we're doing is we're actually taking full enterprise solutions and shrinking it down into a kit or into a small version of what is running in the enterprise, and still running the same IT capabilities on that solution set that the user expects in the enterprise, but now we're running it at a remote facility.
So what are the top considerations when you talk about deployed solutions?
Yeah, so things that I'm talking about is, it's really bringing about IT anywhere. It's about high performance, high capability, high capacity solutions. We're talking about easy to transport solutions. They're small, they're containers, they're kits. A lot of times I think of them as Lego blocks. So these Lego blocks, you may have a solution set that is a data center solution, one that is providing the voice and video, one that is providing physical security, and you can build upon them when you're out in the field. These are designed for ruggedized environments. They're fully integrated and ready to deploy anywhere, anytime.
So you're really talking about taking an office and making it remote, not telework. It's like
Absolutely.
First responders, war fighters, things like that.
Yeah, we're really looking at size, weight, and power when we move out. So if we look at size, you want to be able to take the size of the mobile solution and really shrink it down so that it is truly mobile. And you're taking a data center and you're providing that solution into a small kit. You're thinking about the weight because you want that solution to be mobile, and you're moving that solution around to remote facilities. And you're also thinking about power. How can I access the power that is out there? It may be a generator out there. It may be solar solutions out when you get out into the field. And it may be a hotel room. You may have a solution where you want to take people that are inside of your facility and move them out to a hotel room, into a conference room, and provide them access and back into your enterprise.
All right, so when agencies want to use a deployable solution, how do they deal with security concerns?
So we leverage the same security capabilities that we would inside of the facility. We're thinking about authentication, authorization, and encryption. Those are very, very important. We use whatever classification that we have of that data or that network, we're using that same classification once we get out into the field.
Okay, how about some use cases?
So there's lots and lots of use cases. Think about healthcare or emergency responders and what they have to deal with when they get out onto an accident or an emergency situation. They want access to whatever information that they can normally have on that patient. They want it out in the field. But they also want to be able to take that information and make sure that when they take a field assessment of that patient and that patient moves from the field back into the hospital, they want to make sure that information follows that patient. So it is the connectivity and the capability that they're looking for when they're out in the field. Other use cases are a warfighter situation where when the warfighter goes out into a war zone, they want to make sure that they have that capability that they expect when they're out into the zone. and have the information at their fingertips to be able to make decisions properly with all the same information that they would have when they were back in the enterprise. Another real good one that we think about a lot of times is continuance of operations. What if your facility goes away? The best way to get back to that facility is have information in the cloud and capabilities out into the field with a deployable kit. And now you can immediately stand up an enterprise and immediately stand up the same type of capabilities that you had at the enterprise. And another one is development teams. If you think about development teams out in the field and how they're looking at the impact of what they are developing and the impact of changes that they're making, they can have that access back to their manufacturing, back to their engineers into the enterprise, with having the information into the cloud and then their capabilities back and secured properly with the deployable kit. They can make changes immediately based upon how that product is interacting into the field.
So the deployable kits are controlled by your permissions, if you will. It's not an individual thing like the BYOD. You're saying anybody that has certain permissions get in and can utilize it, and that's why you call it a deployable solution.
Correct.
Okay, and therefore from an R&D perspective, as a younger workforce is coming in order to get them excited about coming into civil service, you can actually get them out in the field and they don't have to go into the brick and mortar.
Right. Yeah, there were situations where we used deployable kits. For example, I had worked on a case one time when we had a deployable kit come out into an area that was simulating a war zone, and we could actually test communications gear and how it would interact into the war zone and take readings on that communications gear, get it back to the manufacturer, and then that manufacturer could make changes so that we had the right solution. So when we knew those soldiers deployed into the field, they had a solution that we knew was going to work.
All right, so we're going to pause here for a short break. Thank you very much, Wade. I appreciate it. Wade Van Gilder, Senior Director of Technical Services at Red River. I'm Jeff Sessions, your host.